Hey, what's up, folks? This is Seraph, the philosophy guy, and today I just decided to have, a simple conversation with my friend Moses. Me and Moses come all the way back, and if you've been constantly following some of the videos that I've been uploading, you know that there was a time when I had a conversation with Moses about the books that we were reading and how those books influenced much of our life and some of the worldviews that we kind of adopted through the whole process, and we had the whole conversation about that. But if you never got a chance to watch that video, I'm going to put it in the description. And like I always say, I should say this at the outset, the first thing you should be doing as you're watching this is subscribing so that you can get notifications about conversations and topics that we're going to be putting across. Because let's face it, this is the only channel in Zambia where you're going to find intellectual conversations that surround philosophy and science. That is not to blow our own horn, but I mean, we're the pioneers, the first people having these conversations in Z. Last time there's been some, me and Moses haven't talked in a while, so I was trying to catch up, so I texted him on WhatsApp the other day and I asked him just what he's been up to and what he's been reading, and he told me he's kind of moved away from the slightly punchy conversations regarding the universe, purpose, gods, this, that, and he's dived more into values and what is it that can make you a more socially acceptable person, how do you contribute to society in a positive light, what it means to be a man, and issues surrounding femininity as well as masculinity. And I thought we should kind of have a conversation around those topics. I too can openly admit that I'm not fully well read on the two topics, but these are something that any lay person can actually talk about because they are lived experiences, to be masculine, to be feminine, all those things are kind of like lived experiences. So Moses, tell us how the experience has been having to read around those topics I just mentioned.
The experience has been exciting and pretty great actually, because like you said, we're having a far different conversation before. We're talking about apologetics, and theism and all those kind of things. And I decided to take a different route. I decided to look at feminism and masculinity, and the reason why I decided to look into those areas because we tend to look around, we tend to have different views of what a man should be, how a man should look like and act, and how a woman should look like. Should men and women equal, and what does it mean to be equal, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and those conversations, it's pretty hard to have conversations of that nature because there's a lot of things that have clouded conversations regarding to what makes a man or what makes a woman a woman. So it's pretty hard to get into that territory without stumbling people needlessly. So we're gonna try our best not to be needlessly inflammatory towards feminists and anybody else who feels otherwise. Yeah. So maybe I think to start off we should best describe or define what we mean by masculine or feminine. So just to pull up a quick definition, I have Wikipedia here opened, and it says about masculinity. It says masculinity is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles associated with men and boys. Although masculinity is socially constructed, research indicates that some behaviors considered masculine are biologically influenced. To what extent masculinity is biologically or socially influenced is a subject for debate. And then Wikipedia also defines femininity in pretty much the same way. It says femininity or womanliness or girlishness is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles generally associated with women and girls. Although femininity is socially constructed, research indicates that some behaviors considered feminine are biologically influenced. It's pretty much the same thing. But then, an area of interest, it goes on to say that traits traditionally cited as feminine include gracefulness, gentleness, empathy, humility, and sensitivity. So what do you make of that? Do you think such qualities like gentleness, gracefulness, empathy, humility, and sensitiveness should be inherently associated with women or girls?
Not with women per se, but in a feminine kind of way.
What is it that what would you say makes a girl a girl?
I mean, features, body features, obviously.
Yeah.
And in a sense of feminine, which is like it talked about being gentle, being kind, being caring and whatnot. And from the definition as well, you would tell that this is associated with biology as well.
Yeah,
because in evolution, we see that men are the ones who went there and hunt, and women will stay home to take care. So that's why women and men cannot play the same role, because by evolution, they're not the same.
Though, just an area of interest, who would you say is in the right position to determine what roles different sexes should play? Or why should we say women should take up some sort of like caring role, while men should take up some sort of like providing role? Who's in the best position to even determine those roles?
Scientists have actually studied how characters of men and women, and we've seen that men are more protective, are more dominant in terms of strength and whatnot, and then women are more caring, are more compassionate, are more all these things. So it's a study which we've shown, and then so we've just derived those values or those characters from the study between women and men.
Yeah, I understand that, but some of these studies, if you've noticed, they are usually like based off of how society is structured. But from the definition we just read, it seems to a large degree that the way women behave or the way boys behave, to some extent, is socially influenced. So for example, if you are going to think of guys as behaving in some sort of like macho way or dominant and all that stuff, usually such attributes, the mere fact that they are values and attributes, it means they are just ingrained through your social, because of your social circle. Not that you're inherently feeling like you're supposed to be the domineering one.
Actually, you are inherently feeling that way. Like I was saying, like in the olden times, even up to now, we'll see that even in terms of animals as well.
Yeah.
We'd see that in terms of like every species on Earth.
Yeah.
We'd see that the man is the one who's protective, who's more going there to hunt and whatnot. Except in some few animals, but even in the olden times, we go down to the Stone Age and whatnot. Yeah. Women used to stay home, take care of the children, while the men went ahead and did these things.
So what would you say would be the negative consequence? Suppose those roles were switched. What would you say would be the end result that would be so repugnant?
Oh, because if those roles had to switch to cause chaos, because none of them will have the ability to take the role they've been given, because inherently they can't do that. Like for instance,
the question is who has given those roles? Because we're just assuming these roles. And if nature has given these roles, does that then go to show that these roles can be switched? Because we have seen there's been cases where we've had single parent households.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've had women doing pretty much what every man
even in those single parent households, it's very difficult. You have a certain kind of, psychologically, you have a certain kind of impact on the child as well, because the child needs both energies.
Okay, so now you're talking about on the kid's side, but I mean the parent herself.
No, the fact that the kids itself has got issues, meaning the parent is not doing the full job that both of them would have done. You understand?
Though my question was more on the if a woman is able to make ends meet and put a house together, regardless of having to have a father figure around, or some sort of like father to parent the kids, that goes to show that those roles can easily switch.
Now that's the problem.
And then they can switch with no serious consequences on the part of the woman or the man.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that the woman cannot go and make ends meet. Of course, the woman can do that, but it's not biologically. I don't say duty though. It's not engraved biologically to do that, but she can do it. But when she's doing that, she's also neglecting her feminine kind of view.
Yeah.
You understand, right? So women, I encourage women to do that. I encourage women to go ahead and make ends meet and whatnot. But if a woman is trying to take both roles
Yeah.
at the same time, it will put an impact on the child. So by virtue of them putting an impact on the child,
Yeah.
meaning she's not doing them correctly, or she's not doing both roles correctly.
Yeah, I can understand that there's like consequences that come with being raised in a single
single,
parent
yeah.
household.
Mhm.
But though my area of interest was, there's something I want to get out. Like,
Okay.
what is it that, say for example, what if you had an example of something that, say, you feel a man can do that a woman can't do? Like, what would that be?
Possibly there is nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. There is nothing. It's like how can I put it this way? You can't be everything at once. You can know a few things, but you can't be specialized in everything, right?
Yeah.
So by that statement or by that idea, we're trying to say that women and men have these different things they're specialized in, right?
Yeah.
So you can't say I can't come to you and say no, a man can do this and a woman cannot do this.
Yes.
You
But-
can't say that.
So, but if there's nowhere we can actually draw the line to distinguish what a man can do and what a woman can't do, then that goes to show that these roles are interchangeable and they're not specific roles that are directly determined. Say a woman is just going to be overly sensitive, or a woman is going to be overly caring, while a man is going to be overly protective or overly domineering. So these are values that any person, regardless of their sex, can adopt.
You don't understand me. Listen, what I'm trying to say is this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give maybe let's working in a factory, right? Lifting maybe maize or lifting whatever, something
Yeah.
heavy, right? So we see that job can be done perfectly well by a man because he has the muscles for it, he has a body structure for it, right?
Yeah.
Most men actually, right? So a woman cannot do that because they don't have testosterone in them enough to build those muscles in them, right?
Okay.
So they have so biologically you're talking about this way.
Yeah.
So if you take a woman who biologically, like not even psychologically, biologically cannot effectively do that as well as a man can do, already we can distinguish that. You understand, right?
Okay, now, yeah, I get your point. On that one, I'm willing to concede that
Okay.
there's been cases where they're just jobs, probably which would be better suited for a man because of
Yeah.
their slightly advantaged position to be, a little
Yes.
strong physically.
Yes.
But I think a lot of these jobs can be learnt in that there's exceptions. Like women can also do certain types of jobs that we consider socially as inherently male-based jobs. We've even seen this like in the police force,
Yeah.
the army,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But on a physical point, like on the biology that you just brought out,
Yeah.
I think I would be ready to concede that, okay, yeah, that's the case. But
Okay.
if we go back to say, what is it that defines a man? Away from the biology
Yeah.
and your physical structure,
Yeah.
that ground is very fluid. There's nothing really that's so distinctive to tear apart the sexes.
Okay. So what distinguishes between a man and a woman? Okay. So I feel men and women are not only different biologically but psychologically as well.
What example would you give?
How we handle things, right? So we're talking about okay, psychologically cannot be talked about without talking about the hormones which are portrayed as well by women. You understand, right?
Okay.
So women are more likely, allegedly more likely. Allegedly more likely to jump to conclusions, to work with their emotions, whatever they're feeling. So they just have this kind of biology setup, how they were built is just different from a man, how they were built. So by that is actually making them psychologically different as well in how they operate in a day-to-day life.
But then if I understand your argument correctly, it's like you're saying the underlying reason or the underlying distinction that slightly makes women detached from men is they're emotional.
No.
You would
Women.
because if you say, okay, if you were to say, for example, girls are more loving, but there are guys who are equally more loving. Or if you say that men are they have more mental resilience, they can withstand, say, emotional pressure, depression, and all this stuff. But the girls who've got the same equal degree of grit. You know what I mean? So that doesn't help us make a conclusive argument that, hey, here's something that can distinguish the sexes.
No.
Aside from the physical things, like muscles and all that stuff.
Now, even those muscles, we see women who are really masculine. You understand, right?
Yeah. So
those are just like outliers.
Yeah.
You understand? So in every distinction that I've put up, or in every distinction you have said, those are outliers as well. But on a normal basis, if you get a normal female and a normal male, you would see the differences in all the kind of things like resilience, like protectiveness, and if you tell this, like even psychologically, if something had to happen right now and you're with your girlfriend, what's going to happen? Your girlfriend will come behind you and you're going to go in front of them subconsciously. So that's just trying to show that, hey, you are the protector there.
But that's like the average girl. There are girls who go like that.
Yeah, that's exactly the average girls that we're talking about, not the outliers. You understand, right?
Oh, so you mean the girls that
the girls
an exception?
No, the slightly those are just like if they're an exception, that means it's not the norm. You understand, right? They've got some masculinity in them.
Yeah.
You get it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So, but okay. So, this. So earlier on, you had said both the man and the woman can have traits, can have masculine and feminine traits.
Yes. Okay, don't upload this. No, don't upload this. Relax.
No, we're uploading this. We can't waste 20 minutes here of nothing.
No, it's
and
not
then
nothing.
we don't upload this.
No, it's not nothing.
We are uploading this fucking video. Alright?
You say kissing now, eh?
No, I'm still a respectable unbeliever.
Okay, my G, to be honest now, like, we're not going to upload.